Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're doing a how to build on the brand new Spring Hell. She's currently not wearing her normal outfit, she's wearing one of her other outfits, but her actual default outfit is really nice. And her general kit is good, she's been designed very well, her CC is decent, it is not extremely high but it's also not extremely low, which is good because she's an SSR character, not a UR base and not an LR, so it's decent. Look onto her substats. So her substats, 111% pierce rate is insane. It's good for a character who doesn't super rely. She has 3 times pierce rate, but that's the big damage thing, the 120%. She doesn't fully rely on pierce rate. She does have a pierce rate skill, but she isn't fully dependent on it like some characters. 87.5% resistance is good. Regenerate, I don't really care. 113% crit chance is good, plus with her passive alone, it takes her, she can get to about 150. Sorry, she can get an additional 50% boost, which is really good. It puts her at about 160, which is good. Crit damage, 262 is decent. It's not the highest, definitely not the lowest. Nearly 100% crit chance, crit resistance is actually quite decent as well. It's about on par with like the average character, the average new character you see nowadays. 180% crit defense is high. I'd say anything about above 110 I would consider high. Anything above 120 I would consider really high. She's got 118, she does have all outfits, so that does once again contribute quite a bit. 15% lifesteal is good. If you if you add her passive to it, which gives her 15% all stats, you can add 15% to all of these. If you max out, you get 30%, so you can add 30% to all of these if you want to know what she's going to be like when she's in her peak sort of form. Now onto her skills. So her first skill was called Soul. It's a very odd effect. It's such a plain name, you don't think it would actually have anything to it. Soul is 2 times crit chance, 3 times pierce rate, and damage dealt is increased by 120% when an ally has the retrogression effect, which is the little timer buff, which when they hit 0 health or 1 health they get sort of revived. It's really odd. Her passive is really odd. She is pretty broken. The multiplier isn't too high, which is like 150, 200, 300, which I think is the same as Spike, maybe a little bit lower. But it does a lot of damage, like an ungodly amount of damage. Trident Hero Arena, you're looking at about 2 million. Even in like farming gold, you're looking at like 1 million, and her ultimate, you're looking at like mine's 2.6, you're looking at about 5 million, which is really good damage. Her other skill is a cleave skill, which is a debuff skill, which is meant to lower the enemy's damage dealt. 140% multiplier. The damage dealt lower it's not too big until it's level 3. Also, the multiplier doesn't get increased by too much. 70%, then it gets increased by 140% of gold. Cleave is a very good skill. The only problem with Cleave is, once again, she has really high crit damage and really high crit chance. That is kind of sad she can't crit, because this skill would probably do more if it could crit than if it couldn't crit. But once again, she's got really high crit chance, she's got really high base crit damage, so it's okay, she still makes the use out of it with her high crit damage. Onto her ultimate, which is the same soul effect skill, but it also applies the retrogression buff on all allies. So if you are 1/6, it'll only apply the buff to herself. If you are 2/6 and above, which is the reason why I've got her 2/6, it applies it to all your allies, which is pretty broken. The buff itself, its attack related stats are increased by 20%, HP cannot fall below 1, and increase attack by 30% for 2 turns when removed. That is the reason why I push to get her 2/6, because that is insane. Your entire team gets 20% attack related stat boost, the HP cannot fall below 1, and when, let's just say, those buffs are removed, you get 30% attack boost. That is a grey buff, means that basically all content can't remove it, because they can't remove grey buffs, but they can remove blue buffs. So the 30% attack is really good. Onto her Unity, which is increased critical resistance of allies with the unity effect by 24%. So whoever has this unity gets an extra 24% crit resistance boost. So if you're using it as a link for anyone, really, they can get the boost, because it is not linked to a race or a characteristic like some other unities and bonds and graces are. But yeah, that also once again does scale the ultimate at 1/6. It is 20%, at 6/6 I believe, I want to say 40%? 40%. So she actually has an additional, let's just say 20% of 1/6 crit resistance, which puts her, I would say, in the very high range. If you have her 6/6, 139% critical resistance, which is absurd. it's insane. It is like she's gonna barely be crit, and if she is being crit, she's being crit by skills that are gonna crit your team no matter what. So some characters do have skills where it's like they've got like 150% crit chance, and it's 2 times crit chance. They guarantee critting you. There's nothing you can do about that. But the other characters, she should be able to avoid being crit by them, which is pretty decent. On to her passive, which is once again another paragraph, but it's not too bad. Her kit is really good. It's very diverse. It boosts the team, boosts her own stats, which is what I like to see. I don't like to see sort of selfish DPSs, and I don't like to see useless supports. And she's a very good DPS, and she's a very good support character. So, increase applicable allies' basic stats by 6% for each one participating in battle. So if you got 3 up, or you got 4 up, so you got 3 up, you got 18%, you got 4 up, let's just say Hero Arena, 24%. Basic stat boost for all your allies. When applicable allies use 2 AoE skills, including ultimate moves during the ally's turn, 2 debuffs are removed from each applicable ally, which is really good. The hero gains retrogression effect at the start of the battle for 2 turns. Once again, we know what that does, 20% attack related stat boost. HP could not fall below 1 and increase attack related stats by 30% for 2 turns. When an applicable ally dies, they are granted retrogression for 2 turns. It is limited to once per ally, not is it once per ally? I think it's just once per ally. Once one ally. I think it's just a single ally, not once per ally. When retrogression is applied to an applicable ally, all stats of the hero are increased by 15%, and applicable allies' damage dealt is increased by 30%. This also does scale with ultimate. Does it actually stay on here? It does here. So no, it doesn't. It doesn't actually state, but it does go up with ult level. I'm surprised they don't actually state it here, but it does. I'm pretty sure at 3-6. So 1 and 2-6 is wrong thing. 1 and 2-6 it is 30%. 3 and 4-6 it is 35%, and then 5-6 and 6-6 it is 40%. So it's a decent damage increase between let's just say 1 and 2-6 to 6-6. It's about 20% when it's fully maxed out, or 10% with 1 stack. But that is also the reason why I say you get a 2-6, is that means when you ult, it applies to applicable allies. Because if not, you're only really going to get the buff once, and that's when it applies to you and to your so you start with 1 turn 1 because you automatically start with the buff on Hell. And then you have to wait for a teammate to die. Let's just say you're doing a PVE content. It's not really going to apply unless you pop the ult on yourself. But if you pop the ult for everyone, not only does everyone get the boost as well, but you also get the second stack, which is also kind of handy. And yeah, Hell is really good. So I've got 2 gear sets for Hell. I've got my old HP defense set, which is on the Dark Hell, because they both share gear sets. So my old Festival Hell has HP defense, and I gave her attack crit. I gave her attack crit mainly for the purposes of PvE. For PvP, I still think she would benefit more from HP defense, only because she's got a lot of stat boost. She's got a lot of her team is very stat boost. Her passive is very stat boost. She should be fine with HP defense in PvP, but I've given her attack crit solely for the fact of PvE, just so she can decimate everything. Hero Arena, the video should be out now, of me just decimating a Hero Arena with her. Outfits wise, she's got a full set of outfits already. Means Hawk Pass won't add like a final outfit, so the CC she's got is sort of her maxed CC. I use that in quotation marks because she hasn't got a relic yet. But yeah, 71k, that is 2-6, that is not perfect HP defense gear, that is also not everything leveled up. But when they add another Hall Pass outfit, that's the reason why I haven't leveled them up yet, is because they'll give you a UR one, which is a little bit cheaper to upgrade, and it may look a little bit cooler. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, let me know your thoughts and opinions on Hell in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.